Early one morning, a man was enjoying his morning reading, but he kept noticing movement out of the corner of his eyes coming from the woods on top of the hill behind his home. He laid down his book and went to the window to investigate. Though a considerable distance away, he could clearly see someone or something moving at the top of the hill. It had been very cold the night before, with temperatures reaching well below zero. The pond had frozen for the first time for the year. Despite the fact that it was only 21 degrees, the man decided to go outside and investigate who or what was at the top of his property. He began in his backyard, a place where he's had very many strange encounters, to say the least, where his trail cameras have picked up clowns, ghosts, and more recently, what appeared to be a Bigfoot Sasquatch doing a low crawl across the field. Despite these strange occurrences and strange sightings that his trail cameras had picked up in the past, the man decided there was only one thing he could do. He must brave the cold. He must brave the dangers. He must head to the forest to find out who or what was on his land. There had been so many frequent sightings of strange events and occurrences that he decided to put up trail cams in multiple locations on his property. So many mysterious visitors had come in the past that they had actually worn down a trail through his upper meadow. So he strategically placed cameras here, where he picked up other strange oddities. Weeds that appeared to move on their own at times. Mysterious figures lurking through the forest and the meadows. Again, despite his fear, despite the dangers, he knew he had to go to the top of the hill. Once he reached the top of the hill, he made sure to get his lining directly from the window from which he had seen the movement. He lined it up to the top of the hill, the early morning sun coming just over. He began walking through the forest, remembering all the times in the past when he'd seen things in this forest he wished he hadn't. Dark, mysterious creatures lurking behind trees, finding the remains of what had once been living creatures. But after having dealt with this situation for years, he had to finally get to the truth. He had to have his answer. He only hoped that this trail cam had been placed strategically enough to capture what he had seen from his window far below on this very morning. He decided to open the trail cam and see what images or video may have been captured. After opening the camera, he second-guessed himself, afraid of what he might see, but he looked anyway, and he saw the most frightening image he'd seen yet. A witch crawling over the top of the hill of his property at sunrise. He knew instantly he was not alone in this forest, because it had only been a matter of minutes that he'd seen the movement on top of the hill where the image had just been taken. He slowly and very nervously backed out of the forest, making sure he was not being followed or attacked from behind. Once he got back to the meadow, he did what any sane person would do. He ran and he ran and he ran as fast as he could. And he ran all the way home.